Well, it's my pleasure today to have Mike Shannon, St. Louis Cardinal broadcaster, join us here. And Mike, good to see you again.
My pleasure. It's nice to be here in Quincy.
We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here in the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
And, 3 more games with the Cubs coming up here. Let's talk a little bit general about the season. What are your thoughts on the season this year?
Well, it's been a fantastic season because look at the Central. They said the Central Division was the weakest. Well, now they're saying it's the strongest, okay? It's very difficult in this day and age to try to calculate baseball the way I see it. If you want to go back 20 years, it's a different story. Mm-hmm. But it's played differently, and you have to take so much into account, okay? Sabermetrics, but just be a manager for. He's got people from upstairs talking to him. He's got sabermetrics to run it. I mean, he has so much on his plate today. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's one man that can consume all of that at one time or the same time, okay?
Which means the dugout coaches, the bench coaches, are so much more important now than they ever have been, I would think.
If you let them coach, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that Joe Madden probably does as good a job as anyone at the time. Mm-hmm. But, you know, you can only get away with it for about a year in this business because everybody else goes, oh, man, we should take it. You know, it's like the Dodgers, the way they handled the 10-day disabled list, okay, the first year. Now everybody's caught on and say, okay, well, we'll do the same. So you only get about a year to do it, okay, and then they catch up.
Yep, and then things change again after that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about the cybermetrics that are going on right now and the shifting that's taking place in baseball? Is it good for the game, bad for the game, or what?
Well, I don't know if it's good or bad, but, it's probably good because everybody's talking about it, all right?
Yeah.
But now, what do I think about it as a former player or as a broadcaster?
If you
or
were
as a
batting
manager?
today, would you like to see 3 guys on the left side of the infield?
Oh yeah,
because
I'd go to the right side. But we don't. The game is not played that way. These players, and I don't hold them accountable for it because they are. In other words, if a guy hits 40 home runs and strikes out 500 times, they don't care how many times he strikes out. They just care how many. So they reward him for the home runs, and they do not subtract for the strikeouts. Mm-hmm. So what am I going to do? What are you going to do? What would you do?
Well, I try to hit to the right side, obviously. But
I mean, you'd hit the home runs, correct? And don't care about the strikeouts.
You know, I'm old-fashioned. That's why I said that.
They want to blame the players. You can't blame the players because now if you hit 40 home runs and you strike out 200 times, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to hold, It's like a driver's license, okay? Driver's license has nothing but responsibility to it, okay?
Yeah.
So here's your driver's license. Go on out there. But what happens if you get a ticket for this or you hit some money? You're accountable, okay?
Yeah.
So there's a responsibility to it. And there's no responsibility to striking out 200 times because we're not going to, no structure, no discipline.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I know baseball, I mean, the state of the game, I think, is pretty sound right now.
It's fantastic. I mean, look at, except here's the problem that I see it, okay? Check the attendance prior to this last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's down.
Yeah.
And so here's my thoughts on it. And I haven't said this publicly, so I'm going to get in trouble here. But everybody's making a lot of money. The owners are making tons of money. Mm-hmm. The players are making tons of money.
TV's making tons of money.
Well, I don't know about that part. I know that the owners and the players are making money, and that's good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you turn around, hey, fans don't care about it anymore. They want to see the guy hit to the right side. They want to see small ball instead of big ball. And so all of a sudden the owners say, wait a second, we're losing money now. Mm-hmm. When you start losing money, the old pocketbook, that gets it.
Yeah, it's tough to sit through a ball game and watch 16 strikeouts,
Well, that's what we have
walks
okay.
and things like that.
And home run.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? And here's another subject they're going to have to address. They've expanded the rosters now, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was going to bring that question up, too.
Okay. Well, let's
address
it now. We'll do it right now. Okay. Now, we had the first 2 games of our series with the Brewers in St. Louis. The first 2 games, the combined total of pitchers for each team, okay, both the teams, 31. The Brewers in the first game used 9 pitchers, okay? We used... anyway, there was 31 pitchers, 16.
2 games.
In 2 games, they used 31 pitchers.
That's incredible.
In the first 2 games, all right? And so, you know, and there was, well, I don't know what the players think of that, but I wouldn't think that they would like it, except for the fact that I don't think they assess things the way they were assessed, say, 20 years ago, okay? Because I think players looked at it differently then. But everybody's making so much money now, hey, come on and join the party. Well, but all of a sudden, you turn around and you say, wow, what happened? My ride's not here? I thought we were having such a good time. We were having a good time, but now it's 1 o'clock in the morning and my ride's not here. Where's my ride?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it certainly is different, obviously. Would you rather play in this era now or take the money
monetarily?
Out of it? Take the money out of it. I knew where your answer was.
You saw my eyes light up.
I thought I better take this question.
Oh, there's no question it'd be in
when you
years
played,
past.
Yeah. And the game was probably more fun, I would think, and how you played it, too.
Well, yeah, you know, you would go out now. I mean, we used to go out, and we'd have 10 or 15 guys together, okay? Now, we would go to a place to eat and drink, okay, that we knew we were protected, okay? Sure. But nowadays, with the telephones and the cameras and so forth, you know.
It's hard.
It's impossible. Okay,
true.
And it's not just for athletics; it's for society.
Yeah.
I mean, period. Yeah. You know yourself. You know you're a celebrity. You know that you have a certain responsibility to society to act in a certain manner. Okay, but if you look back 20 years, there were some things that you said, well, I might do them differently today.
That's true.
And I guarantee you they are done differently today because of telephones and cameras.
And videos that are available every place, really, now.
Well, sure. And you turn the TV on, he's, oh, my goodness, what happened there?
All right, we'll wrap this up with a question here because I get asked this all the time. How long is Mike going to continue to do broadcasting?
Yeah, I go day at a time. No, day at a time.
But you still love doing it.
Oh, I enjoy it very much because I love the psychological part of the business, okay? I used to, as a third baseman, I'd go over to a pitcher in the 7th inning. I'd say, hey, if you get this guy out here, we'll win the game. And he'd look at me like I just dropped off of Mars, okay? Because he was totally involved with the next pitch he was going to make, okay? But I knew if he got that guy out, I wouldn't have to face Willie Mays in the 9th inning with a man on, okay? And it always happens. You know, it's like I talked to a guy. He walked over 100 times in front of number 44 for the Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Braves.
Hank Aaron.
How can you walk 100 times in front of Hank Aaron? You can't. It's impossible, right? So I asked him, and this is in yesteryear. So I went and I asked him, I said, what's your philosophy on hitting? He said, I have a railroad track. If the ball's on the railroad track, I swing. If it's not, I don't swing. Yeah. That was my answer. Yeah. The guy couldn't get in the railroad track over 100 times in front of a, you know, it's like you go to the mound if you're a pitching coach, you say, now, Dorsey, don't walk this guy. And he turns around and leaves. Well, now what did he just say to you? What's the prominent word?
Don't.
Walk.
Yeah.
Walk.
Yeah.
So what happened?
He walks him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now he comes out there and said, Dorsey, now make sure you throw this guy strikes. If he throw it down the middle and he hits a home run, hey, it's not your fault.
That's right.
He told me to throw strikes. I did.
And you're up 3-1. Probably,
that's
too.
right.
So you got nothing to lose.
But the psychological part of the game is my interest in the game, plain and simple. And it's just as prevalent now as it was 10 or 20 years ago. It's just a different philosophy. That's all.
And when I watch a game, I look at the situation obviously, but I like to manage the game. Sure. I like to say hit and run would be great right here and see what happens.
Well, see, I've never managed, so I don't criticize because until you're in the dugout and you have to push the button, that's a whole different story. Now, what I do is I will say, here are the options. You want to manage? Go ahead and manage. Here's your option. Yeah. But until you're the guy that has to push the button, are you like people came to me in the business and they said when McGuire was hitting all the home runs, they said, "Are you nervous?" I said, nervous? What I was nervous when I was facing Koufax. I don't have to be nervous about this. So what are you going to say? I said, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I'm going to wait.
Yeah, there's nothing going to go past your nose 100 miles an hour.
That's correct. You know.
Yeah, I know, and we'll wrap it up with this. It was a tough year for you, and your good friend Red Shane's passed away. Yeah. You guys were inseparable for the last how many years?
You know, it was such an honor and a pleasure to give the eulogy for him, okay? And it was an honor. And, you know, to me, there'll never be another one like him. And I think he left a legacy, and I said that at the funeral, that I think that his children and his grandchildren are going to have to live up to, and I think they want to. And he was the kind of guy that, you know, he never said much, but you watched him, and if you talk to people, tell me about Red Shandy's. That's the first thing they want to know. Well, I tell them, well, I was walking down a alley in Japan in 1968, 2 a.m. in the morning. Hey, Red Shandy's, you know. I mean, but when you think about Red Shandy's, you don't think about one thing that he said. More often you think about something that he said and he did.
He did, yeah.
And both, okay? Maybe in the same breath, but he lived by example. And I said he lived by the golden rule. And whose golden rule? Maybe it was his, but
it was still gold.
It was gold for sure. And not only did he live by it, but he passed it on. And I'm telling you, I think that his children and his grandchildren have just picked it up because the same situation that Red had it. He just believed in it, you know. And they think that they have a responsibility for it. And he just kind of passed that on naturally.
Yeah, and there was no better ambassador for the game either.
Oh, he was wonderful, phenomenal. But for life itself, okay, you could just watch him and you could live by Red Shandy's.
Mike, always a pleasure.
Mine, sir. Thank you.
And maybe we'll see you in the playoffs here.
Maybe you might want to ditch this thing so I don't get in trouble.
There's only one or two people listening to it, so don't worry about it.
The wrong one or two? Or the right?
We'll find out. Mike, thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure.